All right, let's go again started on the last section of notes. We're on the last page, page 10, and we're going to go ahead and do the Skills 2 Levels 3 notes, where we're going to go ahead and talk about multi-step area application problems. Okay, so for number 1, it says to calculate the perimeter and area accordingly using the rectangle and triangles below. So my first thought process when we're going to go ahead and solve for this problem, let's go and fill in what we already know. Right? It says AB is 10 centimeters. So that means that this is going to be 10 centimeters right here, and 80 is 5 centimeters. Now, if we're looking at this whole entire shape right here, right, we can assume that, okay, we're dealing with a rectangle. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and put my right angles in. We know that it is a rectangle, right? So then the opposite sides are going to be the same. So that means that this is going to be 5 centimeters, and it means that this is going to be 10 centimeters. Okay? So part A, it says to go ahead and find the perimeter of ABCD. That is just finding the perimeter of our rectangle. Right? So again, perimeter, right, we're just adding up all our sides. So I have 10 plus 5 plus 10 plus 5. That's going to go ahead and give me 30. 30, and our unit is centimeters. And we're done. Okay? For part B, it's going to go ahead and say finding the area of ABCD. So area again, this is just base times height. In this case, our base is 10, our height is 5. 10 times 5 just gives me 50 centimeters. And remember, we need that squared. Now it's going to go ahead and ask us for the area of ABD. If I'm looking at ABD, this is what we're looking at, ABD. And we see that it is now going to be a triangle, right? So we know that if I can go ahead and kind of redraw my triangle, here is A, here is B, and here is D. It's actually a right triangle, right? Here our base is the 10 centimeters and our height is the 5 centimeters. And we know it's just going to be base times height divided by 2. So my base was 10, my height is 5 divided by 2. I have 50 divided by 2, which gives me 25. So it's going to be 25 centimeters squared. Okay, and now we are done with part 1. So I was just incorporating stuff that we have already learned with the perimeter and now adding in the last final step of area. Okay. All right, number 2, it says, Mr. Lesnick, maybe, is planning on laying carpet in his new living room. The dimensions of the room are 17 feet long by 9 feet wide. It's asking us how many square feet of carpeting does he need to cover the floor of his living room. So here it does not provide us a picture, so I'm going to go ahead and create our own. Right. We can assume that it is going to be a rectangle. So here's my rectangle. It says it's 17 feet long, and then it's 9 feet wide. And now it's just very straightforward. We're just going to go ahead and calculate the area. Base is 17. The height is 9. 17 times 9. If I were to plug that into my calculator, 17 times 9 gives me 153. So it's going to be 153 feet squared. Nice. And then we're going to move on to number 3. So number 3, we have 2 different scenarios. It says Mr. O'Connor wants to build a deck off of his house. He is trying to figure out which shape would give him the greatest area. Below are his 2 blueprints, and then it's asking us to go ahead and find which idea he should go with. Okay, so basically we're going to go ahead and find the area of both of these shapes. The first one we know is a triangle, and then the second one is going to be our rectangle. Right? Let's go ahead and start by finding the area of our triangle. So we know that this guy is going to be base times height divided by 2. My base in this case is the 10. My height is the 7. So I have 10 times 7 divided by 2. 70 divided by 2 gives me 35 yards squared. Okay. That's my first scenario. Let's go and look at my rectangle, right? We all know, okay, we're dealing with base times height. My base was 5, my height is 7. That gives me 35 yard squared. But like, oh wait, isn't that like the same exact thing, right? So really, there is no right or wrong answer, okay? Mr. O'Connor can go with either idea because they both give the same amount of area. They both give the 35 yards squared. Okay, so you can literally say either of the two blueprints. In this case, it did not matter because it gave the same amount of area. Okay, so that was a little bit of a trick question. All right, you guys can go ahead and move on to the area application worksheet.